Listen, I have to tell you something. If you're going to be on my channel, it is that deep. It's that deep. It's deeper than deep. Trust me, I can go deeper. Okay, I'm always about going deeper. Okay?
On the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Hello. Welcome. What the hell's that? Are you listening? Are you listening? Hi. Welcome back to Listen Lissa. On our last episode, we talked about the subconscious mind. That is the part of the brain that you're not in the driver's seat for. It's just kind of automatically happening. Gotta figure out what's in there because that is operating 95% of your thoughts, your brain, what you're doing. Today we're going to talk about the different ways to figure out what is already programmed into your subconscious so that you can figure out what's going on in there. What are those weird little synapses that have already formed? Wow. That might not be serving you. All right. Let's get into it. The first telltale sign that you are operating from a set of subconscious beliefs is repeatedly getting an outcome that does not match the intention that you set out to achieve. So this is like when you are having a lot of the same relationships. Maybe you're having a lot of breakups that end in the same type of way. You feel like you get treated the same type of way in relationships. You're having the same type of friend over and over. You feel like the same role in your friendships, whereas your counterpart seems like they're also in their same role and it's not how you want them to go. If you're a parent and you keep trying to talk to your child over the years and it's just repeatedly not being able to reach them, or you find yourself getting into arguments with them when you had no intention to be angry or argue. There's a lot of things that could be at play there, but one thing is that you could have subconscious beliefs that are at play. There's many cases where you tried your best and there were outside factors that had nothing to do with you that led to you not getting the outcome that you intended or set out to get. However, if you keep getting an outcome that doesn't match your intended goal, then you can probably bet that there's some self-sabotage going on in there, some subconscious underlying beliefs at work. I'm going to give you a direct example. You know, this is how I always do things. I give you real examples from my life about what I'm talking about. When your outcomes are not matching your intentions. An example of this and how I figured out a lot of things I do in my relationships that are all operating off of my many really detrimental beliefs that are my subconscious is that I realized that there's a pattern. I have the intention of impressing. I have the intention of being the best woman I can be, the best girlfriend that person's ever had, satisfying their every need, being an extreme caregiver, an extreme nurturer, being very catering, being everything they could possibly ever need all in one, being the perfect housewife, the perfect mother, the perfect cook, the perfect chef, the woman of his dreams, anticipating his needs before he can even know what they are. I have every intention of taking very good care of my partner, being a whole package. Brains, body, beauty, your friend, your lover, great in the bedroom, everything. Those are my intentions when I set out in a relationship, just to be amazing. Someone that you can fall in love with and be so proud to claim and brag about. However, my pattern says my outcome often is that I am unseen. I am overlooked. I am underappreciated. I am neglected. I am abused in many ways. I am taken for granted. I am gaslit. I am told that I didn't try hard enough. I am slighted. I am mistreated. I am betrayed. I am abandoned. So as you can see, my intention each and every time is to be the altruistic giver. I reach for the stars. And I really love hard. I love so hard. So in my relationships, I would be baffled constantly about why do I always get treated this way? Why does he treat me so badly? Why doesn't he love me? Why do I always get the guy that seems good at first, but very quickly just turns to the opposite? And when I'm already very invested, and then I seem to not know how to walk away quite quickly enough before my heart gets massacred in the process.
And so for anyone else who has ever felt this exact same way or similar, this would be the precise reason that we would go into exploring what those subconscious beliefs are, because there is a way to reprogram them so that that doesn't continue to happen.
The best way to tell if there are any subconscious beliefs that are at play that you might not know about is by paying attention to your triggers. So, triggers. What is a trigger? Sometimes triggers can have a negative connotation, but really all a trigger is something that is upsetting you, that is probably upsetting you a little more than it would any of average other person that's in that same situation at that particular moment. And it's because you are triggered, tied to a previous trauma. So there's something about that situation, that person, that environment that you're in at that moment when you're feeling triggered as an individual that isn't of the collective. It's solely connected to you because you are making connections in your subconscious to another time where something was very serious to you and very traumatic. This episode, we're just going to focus on how to identify that you are being triggered, how to know what even a trigger is. Being triggered is not when you just get angry. It's not when you're sad and you cry. That's not a trigger. So there's things that are very universal that make people sad, are mad, or are collectively reasonable reason to be upset. And now a trigger isn't necessarily an abnormal reaction. It just means that it's an excessive reaction to what is happening in the current moment. So it would be where you can't necessarily say that most reasonable people that aren't taking on the internal processes of your brain and having your experiences would have that same reaction to a routine occurrence. Being more sad or easily bothered because you recently lost your job. Yes, you're being triggered by thinking about losing your job. That's pretty normal. That just happened. It's recent. It's a reason to be a little bit more irritable and upset. If someone disagreeing with you on a very everyday conversation causes fury and causes you to have a body reaction that you can tell you are very angry, you are very bothered, your body is reacting and your emotions are reacting to something as simple as someone saying that they have a different opinion than you, this is a trigger. It doesn't apply to everyone in the situation. They're not like, wow, that's messed up. Wow, I'm pissed off about that. It's something that you are experiencing internally because of a tie to the past. And you may not notice this right away. Now, on one hand, some people are very in tune with their triggers. They're like, this is what triggers me. This is what's upsetting me. I know why. I know what I'm feeling. Some people are more emotionally well-versed than others. If you happen to be of the population that doesn't recognize your emotions quite so poignantly or has a hard time identifying which emotion you're feeling and just doesn't really like to delve into that because it's like messy business, but you are trying to figure out your triggers, that could be challenging, right? If you're a type of person that doesn't really enjoy emotional labor and kind of feels like emotions are weak or emotions are just something that you don't have time for, you're just like, I do this, I do that, and it's just logic and that's the way it is. Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Emotions back every decision that human beings make.
No. No.
Yeah. Even for men, for women, for children, for anyone. Everything that we decide, every decision that you make throughout your life, every single day, is first influenced by your emotions.
No.
You just might quickly cover it up with logic, explain it away with logic. Neuroscience has proven this with brain scans and brain measurement. Many scholarly minds have determined that this is accurate, this is true, that all human decisions are emotional based initially.
I think you're overreacting.
So for all of you out there who say, I'm not emotional, I have news for you, honey. We all are. Also, for people who say, I'm not emotional, all that anger, I just want you to know anger is an emotion. An emotional being, no matter what you say, it's been proven by neuroscience, so there, in your face. Take it. And you may be very tempted to say, like, it's not that deep. Listen, I have to tell you something. If you're going to be on my channel, it is that deep. It's that deep. It's deeper than deep. Trust me, I can go deeper. Okay, I'm always about going deeper. Okay, but it's always that deep. So we're never going to say that on my comments. Okay, never, never. I guess you could say that people saying it's not that deep is a trigger for me. I feel very triggered right now. Very triggered by that. So let's go over some things that are common feelings that you will feel if you are triggered, okay? So to help you recognize this. So 1, you could have elevated heartbeat. You could have trouble catching your breath all of a sudden. You could have a feeling like you suddenly want to yell out or scream at someone or react. You may have a strong feeling that you want to harm someone physically. You may have the strong urge to aggress towards the environment around you. Excessive anger or irritability. A very quick mood shift. So you were just living fine and fancy free, and then all of a sudden, you're very upset. And you may not really know why. Nothing really warranted that, or you can't say why. A dissociation. A dissociation is when you're losing touch with your body. So you might have your hearing go out. Like you have that like high-pitched noise in your ear where like you can't hear what's going on. Everything sounds muffled all of a sudden. Someone's speaking to you, but you didn't notice for like 3 times they said your name because you're just like dazed and confused. Let's see. I'm not even gonna front. I have a list. Like I don't even care. Okay, I have a list. I'm going through. Yes, I'm looking at it. If your sight, your vision gets blurry, or you suddenly feel like like it's going dark around the edges of your eyes, you feel empty, or you feel like you don't feel anything. You just like feel dead inside. You suddenly shut down. You suddenly have a blank mind. You just can't think of anything. There's just nothing going on in there. It's not communicating. Hyperventilating. So if you're getting such a shortness of breath that you can't seem to catch it, that's definitely a sign of a trigger. Sudden debilitating fear or doom, or even just a sudden urge to leave the situation. So you know some people, like you try to talk to them and then they're just like suddenly they can't get out of the room fast enough and they're just like I gotta do this right now. Like, oh god, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you for one more second. I cannot even let you finish your sentence because I have to do my laundry right now. I'm sorry. You're probably a trigger for them, or whatever you're trying to talk to them about is probably a trigger for them. If you suddenly have a loss of words or very jumbled thoughts that you can't seem to get anything out, you're just like, bleh, it's mush. If you're suddenly sweating, or you have like a sudden temperature shift, like you're suddenly getting a hot flash. And I'm not talking about menopause, okay? You're probably not triggered if you're having menopause, but you're having a hot flash and that could be triggering. I understand. Menopause could be triggering you. If you suddenly feel a cold sweat, sometimes I'll feel like the chills and then just like my body just feels like cold but sweating. I have panic attacks sometimes, so that's a common symptom I have when I'm having a panic attack, is that it's like I just go cold but I'm sweating at the same time. It's very interesting. Physical tension and clenching. So if you're clenching your jaw, you're physically clenching your fists, or you're clenching your teeth, or you're sitting very tight. Your neck is tight. You're not relaxing. Everything's clenched together. You're clenching your booty cheeks. I don't know, like you're doing your Kegels. Like you might be triggered. If you're having a sudden flashback of a very traumatic event, it's playing in your mind. Something that's going on in that moment must have related you to that and thrown you back into that. That's an excellent indication of a trigger. And your face or your body or anything gets really hot. Like sometimes my eyes will feel like they're burning. My palms are sweaty. I feel like there's just like a heat ruminating off of me. Or like it feels like behind my face is hot. To where maybe I'm wondering even if my face is getting red because it's that hot. Because I'm just hot, I'm just saying, I'm just saying, I'm hot. Okay, so I think you get the picture. What does it matter, right? what does it matter if you know if you're having a trigger or not? Like, what? Okay, so I know how to know if I'm having one, but what do I do about it? I mean, is it even avoidable? How do I stop having these triggers, or are they just a part of life? There are things you can do about them. But the very first thing you need to know is, why am I feeling this way? Because you could know that you're being triggered, but not really understand how it connects and why it's triggering you. And I'm going to let you in on some information about how to tell what is triggering you if you don't necessarily know it right off the top of your head. So some things to pay attention to. Okay? Number one, pay attention to how your body feels. Okay? So when you feel upset, make note of how your body feels. If you know this is like, okay, I just went from a state of being comfortable to uncomfortable. Okay, how does my body feel right now? My face is hot. I'm clenching my fists. I'm fidgeting my feet. I have a blank stare. Okay, take inventory of those things and remember that. Memorize those. Memorize what your reactions are so that you can then start pairing these things together. So you can say, when I feel pissed off, these are the things that happen in my body. So then next time when you find yourself in a situation where you wouldn't think that you would be mad about anything or pissed off about something, but then all of a sudden your hands are clenching together and your feet are tapping, you have a blank stare, and your face is hot, you're gonna go, oh, wait a minute, these are the indications that I'm pissed off. Okay, so what are my strategies? I need to go take a break. I need to be by myself for a minute. I need to get some clarity on what about the situation could have been upsetting me, because I'm about to knock some heads together and I don't want to do that. So once you know what your body does when you're feeling a certain type of way, take care of those symptoms. Your face is hot, go get some air. You feel like you want to knock heads together, get away from heads. Okay, like go be by yourself. If you're having a shortness of breath, you know, go sit down somewhere where you can take deep breaths. Just cure the symptoms that are surface. Okay, so, and while you're taking care of yourself like that, it gives you time to really focus in on self. And that's when you can go inward and figure out what these emotions are. So that one obviously would be anger. Anger is a surface emotion. So there's some things that should make us angry, and it's to indicate to you that something is not right, that there's an injustice, that you're not being treated correctly, things like that. That should make you angry. If you're getting angry about things that you shouldn't necessarily be angry about, or like no one else in the room is angry about, but you're very angry, I'm not angry, that is an indication that there is a different emotion likely underlying that anger. You are definitely triggered, and you are displaying anger because it is the most surface, simple emotion to, and most accepted emotion, especially amongst men in our society, to outwardly show. Whereas it's typically an indication of a deeper pain, despair, or sadness, and a trauma, most likely. So next time you want to blow your top, you know, most people that are super angry are actually just super hurt. You're very sad about something if you're always angry. You've been very hurt. I'm not making this up, so just like letting you know, maybe if you didn't know. If you still can't if you still are having trouble like figuring out some of these triggers and why am I acting this way? You know, like my best friend started singing Backstreet Boys the other day. And like, I was enraged. You know, I couldn't hang out the rest of the day. And it's like, okay, if you like just can't figure out what this could be tied to, an option is to start a journal. I love to journal. It really helps me figure this out. If you start a journal, you can start to notice patterns. So every time you're having these feelings of an uncomfortable nature, you're feeling it in your body. You're going to write down what you're feeling in your body. You're going to write down what emotion you think you're experiencing. Any new knowledge that you get about it, take the inventory, write it down. You want to write what happened right before you started feeling this way, and you want to write what happened directly after, and start to take note of just everything, how you're coping with it, what's working, what's not. You can write down the things that you did that did not work, and you're going to start to see a pattern. You're going to see, okay, this person seemed to be involved in each one of these incidents where I started feeling this way, or this topic is a constant factor in all of these. It's basically the game of like, how is all of this related? You know, what is the same in every single situation? What is the common denominator besides just you? That's all for today. Not my ring light. Mother trucker. Hello. Make sure you click that like button. You click that bell. You subscribe. You get notifications. You do all the things and all the stuffs. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.